All right, let's dive into the world of diabetes. We've got some excerpts from Dr. Salomon to help us out, and I'm really excited um, to explore this with you
Yeah.
and with our expert here, of course.
Of course.
So you're looking for, more than just the basics here.
Yeah.
You want a real understanding of the types, causes, and all those complications,
Sure.
and what it all means for your health.
Absolutely.
We're going to break down the science, but also highlight those aha moments.
Right.
Make it all click for you.
Definitely. That's what we're aiming for.
Yeah.
Helping you connect the dots and really understand this condition.
Okay, so let's start with the basics.
Sure.
What is diabetes?
Right.
It seems like everyone knows someone who has it,
Right.
but explaining it clearly can be tricky.
Yeah, you're right. It's incredibly common.
Right.
Affects millions worldwide.
Yeah.
At its core, it's a chronic condition
Okay.
where your body struggles to, convert food into energy.
Right.
And the key player in this whole process is insulin.
Insulin, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the key that unlocks the door for sugar to enter our cells and be used as energy, right?
That's a great analogy. But with diabetes, that key either doesn't work properly
Okay.
or there just aren't enough keys to go around,
Mm-hmm.
leading to a buildup of sugar or glucose in the bloodstream.
Okay.
And that's where the trouble really starts.
So it's not just about having high blood sugar,
Right.
but it's about those long-term consequences of that high blood sugar.
Precisely. Imagine each uncontrolled blood sugar spike as a tiny hammer blow to your blood vessels.
Okay.
Over time, those little blows can lead to cracks and leaks, setting the stage for serious complications.
Okay, so that's a powerful image.
Yeah.
Speaking of different types of diabetes, I know there are a few main categories, right?
Yeah, traditionally we talk about type 1, type 2, and gestational diabetes.
Oh.
Although as medical understanding evolves, the lines between these types are becoming a bit blurry.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
It seems like with many conditions, the more we learn, the more complex the picture becomes.
Right.
So let's break down these types.
Okay.
What's the deal with type 1?
So type 1 diabetes is an autoimmune disease,
Okay.
meaning your body mistakenly attacks itself.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, the immune system targets the cells in the pancreas that produce insulin, destroying them.
So the body is essentially sabotaging
Yeah.
its own ability to regulate blood sugar.
Right.
That sounds incredibly challenging to live with.
It is. People with type 1 diabetes require lifelong insulin therapy, usually through injections or an insulin pump.
Right.
And it's not just a simple one-size-fits-all approach either.
Yeah.
There are different types of insulin, like rapid-acting insulin that works quickly after meals,
Okay.
and long-acting insulin that provides a steady background level throughout the day.
It's a lot more nuanced than I realized.
Right.
So, how does someone figure out the right insulin dose? It seems like a tricky balancing act.
You're absolutely right. It is a delicate balance.
Yeah.
It involves careful monitoring of blood sugar levels throughout the day, adjusting doses based on food intake, activity levels, and even stress. Carbohydrate counting also becomes crucial,
Oh, wow.
where individuals learn to match their insulin doses to the amount of carbs they consume.
Okay, so that's a lot.
It is.
What about type 2 diabetes?
Okay.
I know that's the most common type we hear about.
It is. In type 2, the body doesn't use insulin effectively,
Okay.
a condition called insulin resistance.
Okay.
Think of it like the key not quite fitting the lock anymore. The cells become resistant to insulin signals, or the pancreas might not be producing enough insulin in the first place.
So either the key doesn't work well or there aren't enough keys to go around. That's a great way to visualize it.
Exactly. And unlike type 1, which often develops in childhood or young adulthood, type 2 is more likely to emerge in adulthood,
Okay.
although we are seeing a rise in cases among younger people.
Mm-hmm.
And while genetics play a role in both types, lifestyle factors like obesity, inactivity, and unhealthy eating habits are major contributors to type 2.
That makes sense. And Dr. Solomon mentions gestational diabetes, the type that develops during pregnancy.
Right.
What can you tell us about that?
So gestational diabetes typically arises during the second or third trimester of pregnancy.
Okay.
And while it usually resolves after childbirth, it's a signal that the body's having trouble keeping up with the increased demands of pregnancy.
So like the body is working overtime and sometimes the insulin production just can't keep pace. That's have lasting effects.
It can.
Okay.
Women who've had gestational diabetes have a higher risk of developing type 2 diabetes later in life.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit of a wake-up call, prompting them to, you know, pay extra attention to their health and make positive lifestyle changes.
It sounds like with all types of diabetes,
Yeah.
there's this interplay between genetics and lifestyle choices.
Right.
It's not just one or the other, but a combination of factors.
You've hit the nail on the head. It's a
Thank God.
complex puzzle.
Yeah.
And understanding both our genetic predisposition and the choices we make can really empower us to, you know, take control of our health.
So if someone is worried about diabetes, what are some early warning signs they should watch out for?
There are some common symptoms that can signal a problem,
Okay.
but, it's important to remember that not everyone experiences all of them.
Yeah.
Some people may have very mild symptoms or none at all,
Mm.
especially in the early stages of type 2.
So it can be kind of sneaky. What are some of those red flags?
Increased thirst and frequent urination are really common.
Okay.
As the body tries to flush out excess glucose through the urine,
Mm-hmm.
unexplained weight loss can also occur,
Right.
as the body isn't efficiently using glucose for energy. Fatigue is another big one,
Mm-hmm.
as the body's cells are basically starved for fuel.
Mm.
And blurred vision can happen as high blood sugar levels affect the tiny blood vessels in the eyes.
Okay. Those are pretty general symptoms.
Right.
Are there any differences in how these symptoms present
Yeah,
in different types of diabetes?
there can be. With type 1, the onset is often sudden and severe.
Okay.
Think extreme hunger, rapid weight loss,
Yeah.
and even fruity-smelling breath.
Fruity breath.
Yeah, which is caused by a buildup of ketones in the blood, a byproduct of the body breaking down fat for energy when it can't use glucose.
Oh, okay. That's definitely not something you'd expect. What about type 2?
Right.
You mentioned it can be sneaky.
Exactly. With type 2, the symptoms tend to develop more gradually.
Right.
And some people may not notice them at all until, the condition has progressed.
Hmm.
Slow healing sores, frequent infections, and tingling or numbness in the hands and feet are some clues.
So it's important to pay attention to those subtle changes in the body,
Absolutely.
not just brush them off as just, getting older or something.
Exactly. Early detection is key to preventing those complications down the road.
Right.
And with gestational diabetes, symptoms can be subtle or even absent,
Oh, wow.
which is why routine screening during pregnancy is so critical.
This is all making a lot more sense now.
Sure.
But what happens if diabetes is left unmanaged?
Right.
What are the potential consequences?
That's where those hammer blows I mentioned earlier really come into play.
Okay.
Over time, high blood sugar can damage blood vessels and nerves throughout the body,
Mm.
leading to a whole cascade of complications.
Yeah.
We're talking increased risk of heart attacks and strokes, nerve damage that can cause pain, numbness, and digestive issues,
Wow.
kidney damage that can lead to kidney failure, eye damage that can result in vision loss, or even blindness,
That's scary.
and foot problems that can lead to ulcers, infections, and even amputations.
Oh my God.
And those are just the highlights.
Oh.
There are many other potential issues as well.
Wow, that's a pretty sobering list.
Right.
It sounds like unmanaged diabetes can affect nearly every system in the body.
Unfortunately, you're right.
Yeah.
And it's not just about the physical toll either.
Right.
There's an emotional and psychological impact that, shouldn't be underestimated.
Of course.
Living with diabetes can be stressful. It demands constant vigilance.
Yeah.
But with proper management, many of these complications can be prevented or delayed,
Okay.
allowing individuals to live full and healthy lives.
That's reassuring to hear.
Good.
So while the stakes are high,
Yeah,
there's also hope and the ability to take control.
absolutely.
But before we delve into management strategies,
Yeah,
there's another complication that's important to discuss.
right,
Hypoglycemia.
right.
What exactly is that?
Hypoglycemia is, it's the opposite of high blood sugar.
Okay.
It's when those blood sugar levels drop too low.
Hmm.
And this can happen for various reasons, particularly in people managing their diabetes with insulin.
So it's like swinging to the other extreme.
Yeah,
And it can be dangerous too, right?
you're absolutely right. Low blood sugar can be just as dangerous as high blood sugar,
Wow.
especially if it drops severely or goes untreated. It's like your brain and body are running out of fuel, and that can lead to a whole range of symptoms like shakiness, sweating, weakness, confusion, even seizures or loss of consciousness in severe cases.
So it's not just about avoiding high blood sugar, it's about maintaining that delicate balance.
Exactly.
What are some common causes of hypoglycemia?
Taking too much insulin is a common culprit, especially if meals are delayed or skipped.
Okay.
Excessive exercise without adjusting insulin doses or food intake can also lead to a dip in blood sugar. And alcohol consumption on an empty stomach can interfere with the liver's ability to release glucose, potentially causing a drop in those blood sugar levels.
So there are several factors that can throw off that delicate balance. It sounds like managing diabetes involves a lot of careful planning and awareness.
It does. But the good news is that there are effective strategies for managing both high and low blood sugar levels, and that's what we'll explore in the next part of our deep dive.
I'm eager to hear more about those solutions. We'll take a closer look at treatment and management options when we return for part 2 of our deep dive into diabetes. So in part 1, we explored the different types of diabetes, their causes, and the potential complications.
Mhm.
And we also touched on that delicate balance
Yeah.
between high and low blood sugar
Right. Yeah.
and how that balance can be easily disrupted.
Yeah.
Now let's shift gears
Okay.
and delve into the empowering part.
Absolutely.
What can you do to manage this condition?
That's what we're going to focus on now, taking control and understanding the strategies.
I'm all for feeling empowered,
Good.
not overwhelmed.
Right.
So where do we begin?
Okay.
Is there a one-size-fits-all approach?
Yeah.
Or does it depend on the type of diabetes?
You're right. Treatment and management are definitely tailored to each type.
Let's start with type 1,
Okay.
where the body doesn't produce insulin at all.
Right.
What are the key strategies for managing this type?
For type 1, insulin therapy is the cornerstone of management. Remember that analogy of the key unlocking the door for sugar to enter cells?
Yeah.
Well, in this case, we need to provide the key from an external source,
Right.
since the body's not making it.
That makes sense. So what does insulin therapy actually involve?
Yeah.
Is it just a matter of taking a certain amount of insulin each day?
It's more nuanced than that.
Okay.
It typically involves daily insulin injections,
Okay.
or using an insulin pump, a small device that delivers insulin continuously throughout the day.
Okay.
But it's not just about taking insulin. It's about knowing how much to take and when. And that's where blood sugar monitoring comes in.
Okay. So it's not as simple as just a set dose.
Yeah.
How does blood sugar monitoring work?
Individuals with type 1 diabetes need to check their blood sugar levels multiple times a day,
Okay.
usually by pricking their finger and using a glucose meter.
Right.
This information helps them adjust their insulin doses based on, factors like what they've eaten,
Yeah.
their activity levels,
Yeah.
and even stress levels.
It sounds like a lot of data to track. Does technology play a role in simplifying this process?
Absolutely. Continuous glucose monitors, or CGMs, are becoming increasingly popular.
Okay.
These devices are worn under the skin
Hmm.
and provide real-time blood sugar readings, eliminating the need for, constant finger pricking.
Okay.
Some CGMs can even communicate with insulin pumps,
Wow.
automatically adjusting insulin delivery based on those changing blood sugar levels.
Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah,
It seems like technology is truly revolutionizing diabetes management.
it is.
But these advancements,
Yeah.
they're not a replacement for education
Right.
and self-management.
Right. Individuals with type 1 still need to understand how those different factors affect their blood sugar levels.
So it's still about being actively involved in your own care. What about carbohydrate counting? You mentioned that earlier. How does that fit in?
Carbohydrate counting is a crucial skill for matching insulin doses to food intake.
Okay.
It involves learning how many grams of carbohydrates are in different foods,
Okay.
and then calculating the amount of insulin needed to cover those carbs.
So it's like becoming a food detective, analyzing everything you eat.
In a way, yes,
Right.
but it's a skill that becomes second nature with practice,
Right.
and it empowers individuals to, make informed choices about their diet.
It sounds like managing type 1 diabetes
Yeah.
requires a significant lifestyle adjustment.
It does.
What about type 2?
Okay.
Is it a similar approach?
While insulin therapy is sometimes necessary for type 2, especially as the condition progresses, the initial focus is often on lifestyle modifications.
So making changes to diet and exercise habits.
Exactly. Think of it as building a strong foundation for better health.
Okay.
For many people with type 2 diabetes, these lifestyle changes can be enough to manage their blood sugar levels effectively.
Okay, so let's talk about those lifestyle changes.
Sure.
What kind of diet is recommended for managing type 2 diabetes?
Right.
I know there are a lot of different diets out there.
There are.
It can be confusing to know what's best.
You're right. There's no shortage of diet advice.
Yeah.
But for type 2 diabetes, the key is to focus on a balanced, nutritious diet that helps control blood sugar levels.
Okay.
supports weight management if needed,
Right.
and promotes overall health.
So it's about making healthier choices overall,
Yeah,
not just following a strict diet plan.
exactly. It's about creating sustainable habits that you can stick with long term.
Right.
And working with a registered dietitian or certified diabetes educator can be incredibly helpful for personalized guidance.
That makes sense. What about exercise?
Okay.
How does physical activity fit into the management plan?
Regular physical activity is a crucial part of managing type 2 diabetes.
Okay.
Exercise helps improve insulin sensitivity,
Mm,
meaning your body can use insulin more effectively.
okay.
It also helps with weight management, which is often a key factor in controlling those blood sugar levels.
So it's not just about burning calories.
Right.
It's about improving how your body processes sugar.
It's
What kind of exercise is recommended?
The good news is that you don't need to become a marathon runner.
Okay.
Even moderate intensity activities like brisk walking, swimming, cycling, or dancing can make a big difference.
It's about finding ways to move your body that feel good and
Yes,
fit into your lifestyle.
exactly.
But what if lifestyle changes alone
Right.
aren't enough to manage blood sugar levels? Dr. Salomon mentions medications as well.
You're right. Medication is often a necessary part of the management plan,
Okay.
especially if lifestyle changes alone aren't sufficient to reach those target blood sugar levels.
So it's not about choosing one or the other. It's
Yeah.
about finding the right combination
Exactly.
that works for each individual.
Absolutely. And there's several different types of medications available,
Yeah.
each working in a different way to lower blood sugar levels.
Hmm.
Metformin is often the first medication prescribed for type 2 diabetes.
Okay.
It works by reducing glucose production in the liver
Okay.
and improving the body's sensitivity to insulin.
So it's like a double duty medication,
Yeah.
tackling blood sugar from two angles.
Right.
What other medications are commonly used?
Another class of medications is called SGLT2 inhibitors.
Okay.
These work by helping the kidneys remove excess glucose from the body through the urine. Then there are GLP-1 receptor agonists, which stimulate the release of insulin and suppress glucagon, a hormone that raises blood sugar levels.
It seems like there's a whole toolkit of medications available,
There is.
each with a specific mechanism for lowering blood sugar. How do doctors decide which medication is best for a particular person?
It's all about individualized care. Factors like a person's overall health, other medications they're taking, potential side effects, and personal preferences all come into play when choosing a medication.
So it's not a one size fits all approach.
It's not
It's about finding the right fit for each individual.
exactly. And sometimes a combination of medications may be necessary to achieve optimal blood sugar control.
We've talked about type 1 and type 2 management.
Mm.
What about gestational diabetes?
Yeah.
How is that typically managed?
The primary focus for gestational diabetes is often lifestyle modifications, similar to what we discussed for type 2,
Okay.
monitoring blood sugar levels closely,
Right.
following a healthy diet.
Yeah.
That emphasizes portion control and balanced nutrition.
Okay.
And engaging in regular physical activity are the cornerstones of management.
So it's about supporting the body's ability to regulate blood sugar during pregnancy.
Exactly. And in some cases, medication, including insulin, may be necessary to keep those blood sugar levels within a healthy range.
Okay, so regardless of the type of diabetes,
Right.
it seems like managing blood sugar levels is a central theme.
It is.
But what about the bigger picture?
Okay.
The emotional and psychological aspects of living with this condition?
Yeah.
Dr. Salomon touches on the importance of a holistic approach.
He's absolutely right. Managing diabetes is much more than just numbers on a glucose meter.
Right.
It's about taking care of your overall well-being physically, emotionally, and mentally.
That makes sense. It's a condition that can impact many areas of life.
Exactly. Living with diabetes can be stressful.
Yeah.
It requires constant awareness, planning, and adjustments. There's a lot of decision-making throughout the day, and it's easy to feel overwhelmed or burnt out.
Yeah.
That's why finding healthy ways to manage stress is so crucial.
So what are some effective stress management strategies?
Engaging in activities you enjoy, whether it's spending time in nature, listening to music, reading, or connecting with loved ones,
Mm-hmm.
can help reduce stress levels.
All right.
Relaxation techniques like deep breathing exercises, meditation, or yoga can also be beneficial.
Okay.
And don't underestimate the power of good sleep. Getting enough rest is essential for both physical and emotional well-being.
It's about prioritizing self-care
Yeah,
and finding those activities that help you recharge and de-stress.
absolutely.
What about the social and emotional aspects of living with diabetes? It can feel isolating,
It
right?
can. That's why connecting with others who understand what you're going through can be so valuable.
Right.
Joining a support group, either in person or online, can provide a sense of community. Talking to a therapist or counselor can also be helpful for processing emotions and developing coping mechanisms.
So it's about reaching out
It is.
and building a support system,
Yeah.
knowing you're not alone in this journey.
Exactly. And remember, family and friends can be a great source of support too. Educating them about diabetes and how they can help can make a big difference.
That's a great reminder.
Yeah.
It's not
Ah,
just about individual effort.
right.
It's about having a team of people
Right.
who can offer encouragement and understanding.
Absolutely. And as we move into the final part of our deep dive, keep in mind that while diabetes is a serious condition, it's manageable.
Okay.
With the right knowledge, tools, and support, you can live a full and vibrant life.
That's an empowering message to carry with us
Good.
as
Oh.
we explore the latest research and future perspectives on diabetes in part 3.
All right, we're back for the final part of our deep dive into diabetes.
Yeah,
We've covered a lot of ground
we have.
from understanding the types.
Right. And the impact of unmanaged diabetes
Right.
to exploring the power of lifestyle changes
Yeah.
and medications
Right.
in taking control of this condition.
Yeah.
But what's really exciting is that we're on the cusp of some major breakthroughs
Absolutely.
in diabetes research.
Like
That's
God.
what I'm eager to hear more about.
Okay.
Dr. Solomon hints at some promising developments on the
Yeah.
horizon.
Right.
What's got you particularly excited?
There are several areas of research that are really pushing the boundaries
Okay.
for type 1 diabetes.
Yeah.
One of the most promising areas is disease-modifying therapies.
Okay, so
Yeah.
instead of just managing the symptoms, these therapies aim to actually slow down or even halt the progression of the disease.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Imagine being able to prevent further damage to those insulin-producing cells
Right.
in the pancreas.
That would be a game changer
You would.
for people with type 1. What about other research avenues? I've heard about artificial pancreas systems.
Yes.
What are those all about?
Artificial pancreas systems are becoming increasingly sophisticated.
Mm.
These systems continuously monitor blood sugar levels
Okay.
and automatically adjust insulin delivery
Right.
through an insulin pump.
Okay.
It's essentially like having a healthy pancreas working for you.
Yeah, I can imagine how life-changing that would be.
It is.
You know, for someone constantly pricking their finger
Right.
and making manual adjustments.
Right, exactly.
What other advancements are making a difference in the lives of people with diabetes?
Stem cell research holds immense potential.
Okay.
Scientists are exploring ways to use stem cells to regenerate those insulin-producing cells,
Mm-hmm.
offering a potential cure
Oh,
for type 1 diabetes.
that's incredible to think about a potential cure for a condition that currently requires lifelong management.
Yeah, it is.
What about research focused on type 2 diabetes? Are there any promising developments there?
Absolutely. Precision medicine is a hot topic
Okay.
in type 2 research.
Yeah, okay.
The idea is to tailor treatment plans
Right.
based on an individual's unique genetic makeup,
Right.
lifestyle,
Yeah.
and other factors.
So moving away from that one-size-fits-all approach
Exactly.
and recognizing that what works for one person
Yeah,
might not work for another.
right. It's about personalizing treatment
Okay.
for maximum effectiveness.
Mm.
And then there's nanotechnology,
Okay.
which is also being explored for more efficient drug delivery and glucose monitoring.
I remember reading about smart insulin patches that could potentially eliminate the need for injections.
Right.
Is that the kind of thing you're talking about?
Yes, exactly. Imagine a future where you don't have to prick your finger or inject insulin.
Yeah.
Those are the kinds of advancements
Right.
that nanotechnology is making possible.
It's amazing to think about the possibilities.
Yeah.
But even with all this incredible research,
Yeah.
it's important to remember
Yeah.
that managing diabetes effectively still requires a holistic approach,
Absolutely.
right? It's not just about waiting for the next big cure
No.
or technological advancement.
It's crucial to focus on what we can do today
Right.
to manage diabetes and live well.
Yeah.
And that means embracing that holistic approach
Okay.
that addresses not just the physical aspects,
Right.
but also the emotional and psychological well-being
Yeah.
of individuals living with this condition.
So even with all the exciting developments on the horizon,
Right.
it's still about taking ownership of your health today.
Exactly. It's about making informed choices, developing healthy habits, and building a strong support system.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, knowledge is power, but action is key.
That's a powerful message to end on
Good.
as we wrap up this deep dive.
Okay.
What's one final thought you'd like to leave our listener with?
If there's one thing I hope you take away from this, it's this. Diabetes is a complex condition, but it's manageable.
Right.
With the right information, tools, and support, you can live a full and meaningful life.
Yeah.
Don't let diabetes define you.
Mhm.
Define how you live with diabetes.
Beautifully said.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for guiding us through this deep dive into diabetes.
It's been my pleasure.
And to our listener, thank you for joining us on this journey of discovery.
Yes. Thank you.
Remember, you're not alone,
They're not.
and there's a whole community of support out there.
There is.
We'll see you next time on the deep dive.